As a collegiate standout, all in white there, Parker Valby, number 6. You'll see Parker at the front. You'll see Pierre at the front, St. Pierre at the front. There's Karissa Schweizer with number 8. She'll be there. Here's Parker Valby. She won 5 distance records in an academic year. That hasn't happened in the 43 years that the NCAA has sponsored women's championships in cross-country, track and field. And she's won 6 NCAA titles in total. Just extraordinary. There's been a lot of question of how will she transition to pro, but I have to tell you, in that semi, she looked great. She knew, hey, 1st through 6 makes it to the final. I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to do what I need to do. And she was easily through to this final right now. All right, Elise Cranny, she goes to the front, right alongside Elle St. Pierre. Rachel Smith is there, and here comes Parker Valby and Emily Infeld. Now they're all starting to position themselves and jostle very early. They don't want to get caught in the pack and get caught in the traffic and risk catching a heel or a toe or falling early. They want to find their own space, so Parker Valby goes to the front. And she might have her eye on the clock. She does not have the Olympic standard in this event. She has run 14:52 point something, so she is just off the Olympic standard in this event, and I wouldn't be surprised if she keeps her eye on the clock. She is used to running all on her own. She is used to tempoing things and running very, very fast. I think we might be seeing that right now. She's just going to set off on a mission to get the job done tonight. Well, you saw Josette Andrews there. You had a quick shot of her. Josette Andrews, Elise Cranny, Karissa Schweizer, and Elle St. Pierre are the 4 women who have the Olympic standard. Going back to that time that Kara mentioned, it's 14 minutes, 52 seconds even. And just since we are speaking of moms, in 3rd place, Rachel Smith made this team 3 years ago for Tokyo, and she also has a daughter, Nova, who was born a month before Elle St. Pierre gave birth to Ivan, and she's returned great from her pregnancy. By the way, just a little side note, we've mentioned Elise Cranny and Elle St. Pierre quite a bit already. They're both doing the double. They're doing the 5,000, 1,500 double, and both prefer the 1,500, but they both do really well at this distance as well. It's really incredible, and especially for Cranny, who's run so well in the 10,000. She's a national champion in the 10,000 meters, but she just said, you know what, I love the 1,500. That's my favorite event. I'm more suited for the 5,000, so I'm comfortable running that. But my true love is the 1,500. We see St. Pierre there, just comfortable. Look at how comfortable she looks. She is just going to jog through this as easily as she can until the kicking starts later and the pace really starts to quicken. And ahead of her is one of 4 Olympians in this field. That's Emily Infeld. She was a Rio Olympian, so watch for Emily. We'll continue to monitor that. She sits 2nd at the moment. But let's check in with the guys in the field. Paul, Trey?
Yeah, we wanted to get you the last field event and the qualifying of the women's discus, where Lisa Allman cheering on her daughter Val Allman, the reigning Olympic champion from Tokyo. And Trey, she didn't spend a lot of time in the infield today.
No, I talked to her and her coach in her last little shakeout, and they said, we're ready. And I was like, what does that mean? And well, this is what it means. A meet record right there. Coming back over, hugging Coach Zeb Zion. Fantastic way to start. One and done for the American record holder, Valerie Allman.
She was 23 feet better than the next nearest competitor, a new meet record, and get yourself in the final with those 11 other women. And the discus final, Lee, is on Thursday night. That's a victory with authority. It's quite the disparity between 1st and 2nd there as we bring you back to the final of the women's 5,000, currently being led by Parker Valby. Well, they're running right at about 15-minute pace, but Lee, I'm very impressed by Parker Valby. She is not intimidated by any of these women. She's running against some of the best runners America has produced, and she says, you know what, I feel comfortable in the front, I feel comfortable controlling the effort, and she's doing just that. So here at Hayward Field at the 2024 NCAA Championships, she swept both this distance and the 10,000 meters as well. A lot of miles in those legs this year. A lot of miles. I have to tell you, though, the women in back of her are happy that she's taking this lead. That means they don't have to do any work. They don't have to think. They're able to just ride this train until they need to think about positioning and kicking over the final mile or so. So Parker Valby has put herself out front, and all the women in back of her are happy to do that and ride this train. There's several very wise and experienced women further back, like Elle St. Pierre. There's Elise Cranny, and don't discount Karissa Schweizer either. Watch for them to make their move, but we've got plenty of time left, 8.5 laps remaining.
Atwood Field in Eugene, Oregon. She's got Olympian Rachel Smith right behind her, who knows what it's like to represent Team USA, and so too do the three women behind her as well. St. Pierre, Cranny and Schweizer, here they come.
This is very impressive, Lee. Parker Valby is going out and pacing these women at Olympic standard pace. They are currently on 14 minutes 50-second pace. That is under the Olympic standard, 14:52. And only 4 women in this race have that standard, but look at this train who is riding on her and hoping that she's going to pull them to that time in a spot on the team. I'm just so impressed. She is so unintimidated. She understands the assignment, and she's going to make it happen.
Her folks have been following her around this year in an RV. They brought the RV to nearby Springfield, and Parker was staying with them prior to the trial starting before she moved into a hotel. But pretty cool family story, and talented young woman leading this field.
I do want you to look at St. Pierre and look at Cranny and just look at how relaxed they are. They're just riding this train. This is a pace that is not easy, but well within their wheelhouse. And they're just happy to have her pull this out and get the separation in the field over the next few laps. It's just less bodies to contend with later on in the race.
Elise Cranny had a pretty substantial coaching change and joined new coach Jared Kornfeld earlier this year in March, and she said, look, it's just a change of scenery, a change of environment. She said, I feel rejuvenated. I feel refreshed and rejuvenated, and I've also kind of gone back to my old just racing on instinct as opposed to racing to a plan. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes, you know, the further you get up that chain and higher on the podium, the more you start to second guess things. And one of the things that Cranny has is amazing instinct. She knows when to go. We saw it in the semi when that whole race slowed to a start and she didn't want to be leading. All of a sudden she found herself in the lead, but she just trusted her instinct. She knew when it was time to press, and she really looks very, very comfortable. So does Karissa Schweizer right behind her. They're former teammates, former training partners. And Schweizer is finally healthy for the first time in a long time, and she is fit, so she's going to hang on to this as well. She is very much so capable of kicking with the best of them.
Karissa said after the prelims that she hasn't been this confident in a couple of years, and when you're dealing with injuries and you've had to come back from that, that's totally understandable, but she's dangerous. That's number 8 in the red and white. Keep an eye out for her. She's got Whitney Morgan right behind her, number 11.
And Whitney Morgan is also coming back from a surgery, started running again in April. This is impressive out of her on such a shortened build up to this Olympic trials. She's hanging in there tough right now.
Parker Valby has led from the beginning. Can she stay there? She'll be looking up. See that glance up to the left? She's looking up at the big screen because she wants to see who's immediately behind and has anything changed behind her.
You know, she is looking back. She sees that Josette Andrews has dropped back a little bit. You can see her now leading that second pack. She's the other woman that has the Olympic standard, and she really needs to close that gap because these women up front are running so fast. They are going to get that standard if they keep this up. But look at St. Pierre in third position, just bouncing off the track. You can even see it in her ponytail. She is just getting bounced off of that track.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here they come. Treating the collegian like a pacer, almost.
Well, you know, all's fair in love and making the Olympic team, Lee. They're going to take advantage of Valby in front as long as they want. She's dragging them to a fast time. She's helping them separate from the rest of the field.
Tell you another thing, in addition to her young son, Ivan, that's powering Elle St. Pierre, she comes from a multi-generational dairy farming family in Vermont. She trains remotely, and she said, look, to run with the support of a small community behind me, I'm not only running for myself and my husband and my family name, I'm running for that community who have given me so much support over the years. She represents the farming and rural community in Vermont. She's very proud of that fact.
She really is proud of that fact. She feels so connected. That's her and her husband, Jamie. Her with the cows. She loves being outside. She loves being in nature. She loves the cows. She loves working with the cows and even milking the cows. And now we see the sugar shack on her family's farm that her great-great-grandfather built. She feels such a connection to that property and to that community. And there we get to see her little son, Ivan.
Cheering Mummy on, and cheering Mummy on just for another 3 laps. We're getting down towards the end of this, and if you were to look at this group here and you want to look at somebody with a kick, Elise Cranny, number 15. Elise has a dynamite finish. So we'll see. If it's time to go, watch for Elise Cranny to feature.
You know, we always talk about who has the best kick, and in this race right now, we're looking at two of the best kickers in the business, in St. Pierre and Cranny. Karissa Schweizer's no sleeper either. I mean, she really can kick with the best of them. But St. Pierre and Cranny are known for their finishes, and their positioning right now is so perfect. Cranny knows that St. Pierre will give her a challenge in that final lap. But St. Pierre, her confidence is just so high. But again, I can't say enough how impressive it is that Parker Valby is taking this. She is holding that pace.
Sure
she is holding this at 14:50. She is making this race right now.
Oh, have we been remiss to mention that Elle St. Pierre earlier this year became a 3,000-meter indoor world champion? That took Ellie's confidence to a whole new level, and here we go. Coming up to the final 800 meters, and Elle St. Pierre, Elise Cranny and Karissa Schweizer, they're familiar names at the front. They go 1, 2, 3 past the collegian.
And this is a question on Valby. We've seen her tempo her way away from college athletes, but this is a different game now. She needs to be able to switch and change her form and get a little quicker to stick on these women, because look at these three women. When St. Pierre decided to go, you could see it. Cranny immediately reacted, and so did Schweizer.
These three have their own story to tell, but these three have one thing in common, and that is their confidence has never been this high in quite some time.
Absolutely. St. Pierre, based on her performances, Cranny and the happiness she's found, and Schweizer finally being healthy. This is going to be an absolute dynamite last lap, Lee.
Credit to Parker Valby. She's trying to hang on to Karissa Schweizer. And only three will go to Paris. And conveniently, the lead three all have the Olympic standard. They're coming to the bell lap.
Well, here we go, Lee. Who is going to be the queen here? We know St. Pierre has so much speed and so much race sharpness, and we know that Cranny is coming back so well, and Schweizer is looking good. She is not giving them any ground right now.
Here we go. No doubt about who's going to Paris. It's just who's going to win a national championship and the Olympic trials.
I don't see that St. Pierre is all out yet, but I don't see that Cranny is either. I do think Schweizer is on the ropes a little bit, but we see Cranny now increasing her tempo. She's going to try to pass St. Pierre on the outside.
28-year-old Elise Cranny, 29-year-old Elle St. Pierre. Two athletes at the top of their game, heading to the Summer Games in Paris. Now this is just about bragging rights. This is about the number, and it's about the confidence, the extra confidence going to Paris. Elle St. Pierre up against Elise Cranny. It's now a home straight sprint. Who do you like the look of the best? Elise Cranny draws alongside Elle St. Pierre. They're shoulder to shoulder, coming to the line. Cranny, St. Pierre, it's almost a photo finish. Elle St. Pierre. What a finish to the women's 5,000 meters, and it's an Olympic trials record.
That trials record, Lee, has stood for a very, very long time. I was in that race in 2000 in my first Olympic trials when that record was set. Last lap, 62.2. St. Pierre out-leans Cranny. That was everything we could have wanted.
Over 5,000 meters, 2/100ths of a second was the difference.
That was absolutely incredible. Both of those women showing so much strength and so much will down that final 100. Neither of them would relent to each other.
Wow is all we can say. Let's take you back to the back stretch where Elle St. Pierre knew that Elise Cranny wasn't going anywhere.
I think St. Pierre thought she had another gear to go here and that would finish off Cranny, and she wasn't wrong. We knew she had another year yet. She looked so relaxed still, but when she went to it, look at Cranny. Cranny is willing herself down this home stretch, and this is what makes her special. She just has this close. She has this finish. When we see St. Pierre, she is pushing with everything. They're drifting out into lane 2 all the way. But St. Pierre was able to hold her off just by the tiniest bit and becomes Olympic trials champion.